everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Grab your tea, your coffee, Oreos, something to get you through this, okay? Because I received this email from a community member, and he asked me to look into something, and so I did. So I'm going to read you his email, and then I'm going to read to you what I found. And this has to do with Dr. Harari. I don't know if you know who Dr. Harari is. He is a contributor to the agenda of the World Economic Forum. Okay? And because when he started out his email, he said, "Do you know anything about Dr. Harari?" He is the close advisor to Klaus, okay, who heads the WEF, and which is intent on totally altering our civilization. So I will leave, what I found, like links to stuff and stuff like that to what I found, all right, and I'll leave all of that in the description box below so you guys can have your references, okay? So he starts out his email, okay, and it starts like this. Folks, I have to send this to you because the prospect is so ghastly. Two farmers, father and son, are from Texas, and the father has been to university. They are Christians, so of course what Harari says is anathema to them, and it should be an anathema to them, to everyone rather, regardless of whether you or not you have religious background. So my PhD thesis, Reality, the Paradox of Indivisibility Divided, studied human consciousness through contemporary arguments from different traditions of knowledge: science, psychology, sociology, religious traditions, and education. And my conclusion, with material gathered from my own primary school classes as evidence, was the extent of human consciousness is fathomless, but tending to be restricted by social thought constructs which, unfortunately, get to the point of actually hindering human awareness, not just ordering our environment. What this fellow is proposing is, to me, the most diabolical treatment one could introduce into human consciousness. I personally consider it so evil that I am sending this to all of you to listen for yourself if you haven't already seen snippets of it on YouTube. I do feel that I am intruding into the lives of some of you without invitation, but I'm risking it because the WEF has already demonstrated its power through governments which are controlled by Schwab, educated politicians whom he considers to be the new world leaders, example Trudeau, Macron, etc. You are not intruding, okay? I encourage people to email me whenever you want to, okay? I am always here. I will always listen to you, okay? And he goes on to say, Harari, as far as I'm concerned, is an ignorant, dangerous man who has to be prevented from putting his twisted anti-human ideas into effect. He proposes that the hackers would be able to understand people better than they can understand themselves. From my studies, I'd say that whatever the hackers came up with as regards an analysis of the nature of human thought, and an individual's thought in particular, it would be a gross distortion of reality. I know, because of the fact that they are even proposing this type of man-made control. Are you satisfied of being regarded by this fellow, who does not appear to have any concept of the underlying nature and extent of human consequences, or consciousness, my bad, as being merely a hackable animal? Do you want the elite at Davos to have the power to agree that humankind can and should be changed in a way that they regard as being useful? These ideas are grotesque, and he's absolutely correct, and I'm so thankful that you wrote in. You know, because it's good to have the perspective of someone who is as well educated as yourself. And I thank you. Okay. And please, you know, I want everyone in our community to chime in, whether it's in the the comment section or just email me. Okay. And I will, if you want me to, okay, I will take all of your emails of what you have to say. Okay. And I will make an entire video on them, because I feel that it's important that we all come together as a community and share our thoughts, our feelings on what is really going on, what really is the problem at hand here. Okay. So this Harari, okay, this guy, okay, I'm going to read to you what I found, okay, about him, on him, what he's done, what he has said, whatever, okay. And this is what it says. And like I said, I'll leave links for you, okay. As we enter the third decade of the 21st century, humanity faces so many issues and questions that it is really hard to know what to focus on. So I would like to use the next 20 minutes to help us focus of all of the different issues that we face. 3 problems pose existential challenges to our species. Yeah. These 3 existential challenges are nuclear war, ecological collapse, and technological disruption. We should focus on them. Now, nuclear war and ecological collapse ecological collapse are already familiar threats. So let me spend some time explaining the less familiar threat posed by technological disruption. In Davos, we hear so much about the enormous promises of technology, and these promises are certainly real, but technology might also disrupt human society and the very meaning of human life in numerous ways, ranging from the equation of a global useless class to the rise of data colonialism and digital dictatorship. Automation might soon eliminate millions upon millions of jobs. And while new jobs will certainly be created, it is unknown whether people will be able to learn the necessary new skills fast enough. Suppose you are 50 years old and a truck driver, and you just lost your job to a self-driving vehicle. Now there are new jobs in designing software or in teaching yoga to engineers. Teaching yoga to engineers? Excuse you? But now, does a 50-year-old truck driver reinvent himself or herself as a software engineer or as a yoga teacher? I'm just going to smack the shit out of you, because my God. And people will have to do it not just once, but again and again throughout their lives, because the automation revolution will not be a single watershed event following which the job market will settle down into a new equilibrium. Rather, it will be a cascade of even bigger disruptions, because AI is nowhere near its full potential. Old jobs will disappear, new jobs will emerge, but then the new jobs will rapidly change and vanish. Whereas in the past, humans had to struggle against exploitation, in the 21st century, the really big struggle will be against irrelevance. And it is much worse to be irrelevant than exploited. This is not a popularity contest, man. This is not high school. Nobody cares if you're irrelevant or not, okay? No one's trying to sit at the cool kids table anymore. Okay, we're just trying to survive here. All right? So, those who fail in the struggle against irrelevance would constitute a new useless class. Okay, so because I'm not rah-rah shish goomba and have the perfect face and body and sitting at the cool kids table, I'm now considered a useless class. Bugger off. All right? I don't want any part of that. Okay? So, people who are useless, not from the viewpoint of their friends and family, but useless from the viewpoint of the economic and political system. And this useless class will be separated by an ever-growing gap from the ever more powerful elite. Now, in the 19th century, a few countries like Britain and Japan industrialized first, and they went on to conquer and exploit most of the world. If we aren't careful, the same thing will happen in the 21st century with AI. We are already in the midst of an arms race with China and the USA leading the race, and most countries being left far behind. Unless we take action and distribute the benefit and power of AI between all humans, AI will create immense wealth in a few high-tech hubs, while other countries will either go bankrupt or become exploited data colonies. Now, we are talking here about science fiction scenario of robots rebelling against humans. We are talking about far more primitive AI, which is nevertheless enough to disrupt the global balance. What is this? That Will Smith movie with the robots? Are you kidding me? Okay. No. So just think that what will happen to developing economies once it is cheaper to produce textiles or cars in California than in Mexico, and what will happen to politics in your country in 20 years. When somebody in San Francisco or Beijing knows the entire medical and personal history of every politician. Well, you know what? They should know the medical history of the potato that's in the White House right now, because he's a dementia patient. So, every judge and every journalist in your country, including all of their escapades and all their mental weaknesses and all their corrupt dealings, will it still be an independent country, or will it become a data colony? When you have enough data, you don't need to send soldiers in order to control a country. Alongside inequality, the other major danger we face is the rise of the digital dictatorships, which will monitor everyone all the time. The danger can be stated in the form of a simple question, which I think might be the defining equation of life in the 21st century. B times C times D equals AHH. Say what? Biological times computing times data equals ability to hack humans. That's the danger formula. Okay. So that means biological knowledge multiplied by computing power multiplied by data equals the ability to hack humans. If you know enough biology and have enough computing power and data, you can hack my body and my brain and my life, and you can understand me better than I understand myself. That's disgusting. That's sickening. You can know my personality type, my political views, my preferences, my weaknesses, my deepest fears and hopes. You know more about me than I know about myself, and you can do that not just to me but to everyone. A system that understands us better than we understand ourselves and predict our feelings and decisions, can manipulate our feelings and decisions, and can ultimately make decisions for us. Nobody's making decisions for myself but myself. What the hell? Now, in the past, many governments and tyrants wanted to do it, but nobody understood biology well enough, and nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, so what? Because the Gestapo and the KGB couldn't do it, you thought, is that what you thought? Huh? You sick, twisted. But soon ahead, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people. We humans should get used to the idea that we are no longer mysterious souls. We are now hackable animals, that we are. Not me. Nope. No sir. Nope. The power to hack humans can be used for good purposes, like providing much better health care. But if this power falls into the hands of a 21st century Stalin, the result will be the worst totalitarian regime in human history. And we already have a number of applicants for the job of 21st century Stalin. Oh, thanks. Thanks for giving us the heads up. Just imagine North Korea in 20 years when everybody has to wear a biometric bracelet, which constantly monitors your blood pressure. Thanks, I can do that on my own. Your heart rate, your brain activity 24 hours a day. You listen to a speech on your radio by the great leader. That's laughable. And they know what you actually feel. You can clap your hands and smile, but if you're angry, they know. You'll be in the gulag tomorrow. Bite me. But if we allow the emergency of such total surveillance regimes, don't think that the rich and powerful in places like Davos will be safe. Just ask Jeff Bezos. In Stalin's USSR, the state monitored members of the communist elite more than anyone else. The same will be true of future total surveillance regimes. The higher you are in the hierarchy, the more closely you'll be watched. Do you want your CEO or your president to know what you really think about them? I could give a crap. So it is in the interest of all humans, including the elites, to prevent the rise of such digital dictatorships. And in the meantime, if you get a suspicious WhatsApp message from some prince, don't open it. Who the hell gets that? Now, if we indeed prevent the establishment of digital dictatorships, the ability to hack humans might still undermine the very meaning of human freedom, because as humans, we rely on AI to make more and more decisions for us. Authority will shift from humans to algorithms, and this is already happening. Yes, I know it is. Already today, billions of people trust the Facebook algorithm. Nobody trusts that. Who said trust Facebook? Get the hell out of here. To tell us what is new. The Google algorithm tells us what is true. Netflix tells us what to watch. And the Amazon and Alibaba algorithms tell us what to buy. In the not so distant future, similar algorithms might tell us where to work and who to marry, and also decide whether to hire us for a job, whether to give us a loan, and whether the central bank should raise the interest rate. And if you ask why you are not given a loan and why the bank didn't raise the interest rate, the answer will always be the same, because the computer said no. And since the limited human brain lacks sufficient biological knowledge, computing power, and data, humans will simply not be able to understand the computer's decisions. So even in supposedly free countries, humans are likely to lose control over our own lives and also lose the ability to understand public policy. Already now, how many humans understand the financial system? You'd be surprised, buddy. Maybe 1%, to be very generous. In a couple of decades, the number of humans capable of understanding the financial system will be exactly 0. I challenge you to that. Now we humans are used to thinking about life as a drama of decision making. It is what you make it, man. What will be the meaning of human life when most decisions are taken by algorithms? We don't even have the philosophical models to understand such an existence. The usual bargain between philosophers and politicians is that philosophers have a lot of fanciful ideas, and politicians basically explain that they lack the means to implement these ideas. Now we are in an opposite situation. We are facing philosophical bankruptcy. The twin revolutions of infotech and biotech are now giving politicians the means to create heaven or hell. I beg to differ. But the philosophers are having trouble conceptualizing what the new heaven and the new hell will look like. And that's a very dangerous situation. If we fail to conceptualize the new heaven quickly enough, we might, as be easily misled by naive utopias. And if we fail to conceptualize the new hell quickly enough, we might find ourselves entrapped there with no way out. In the coming decades, AI and biotechnology will give us godlike abilities to re-engineer life. Godlike abilities? No. There's only one God. Don't even start. And even to create completely new life forms. After 4 billion years of organic life shaped by natural selection, we are about to enter a new era of inorganic life shaped by intelligent design. Our intelligent design is going to be the new driving force of the evolution of life, and in using our new divine powers of creation, we might make mistakes on a cosmic scale. In particular, governments, corporations, and armies are likely to use technology to enhance human skills that they need, like intelligence and discipline, while neglecting other human skills like compassion, artistic sensitivity, and spirituality. The result might be a race of humans who are very intelligent and very disciplined, but lack compassion, lack artistic sensitivity, and lack spiritual depth. Of course, this is not a prophecy. These are just possibilities. Technology is never deterministic. In the 20th century, people used the same industrial technology to build very different kinds of societies, fascist dictatorships, communist regimes, liberal democracies. The same thing will happen in the 21st century. AI and biotech will certainly transform the world, but can we use them to create very different kinds of societies? And if you're afraid of some of the possibilities I've mentioned, you can still do something about it, but to do something effective, we need global cooperation. Whenever a leader says something like "my country first," we should remind that leader that no nation can prevent nuclear war or stop ecological collapse by itself. And no nation can regulate AI or bioengineering by itself. Almost every country will say, hey, we don't want to develop killer robots or genetically engineered human babies. We are the good guys. But we can't trust our rivals not to do it, so we must do it first. If we allow such an arms race to develop in fields like AI and bioengineering, it doesn't really matter who wins the arms race. The loser will be humanity. This guy is sick. Unfortunately, just when global cooperation is more needed than ever before, some of the most powerful leaders and countries in the world are now deliberately undermining global cooperation. Leaders like the U.S. President tells us that there is an inherent contradiction between nationalism and globalism, and that we should choose nationalism and reject globalism. But this is a dangerous mistake. There is no contradiction between nationalism and globalism, because nationalism isn't about hating foreigners. Nationalism is about loving your compatriots. And in the 21st century, in order to protect the safety and the future of your compatriots, am I saying that right? You must cooperate with foreigners. So in the 21st century, good nationalist must also be globalist. Now, globalism doesn't mean establishing a global government, abandoning all national traditions, or opening the border to unlimited immigration. Rather, globalism means a commitment to some global rules that don't deny the uniqueness of each nation, but only regulate the relations between nations. The World Cup is a competition between nations, and people often show fierce loyalty to their national team. You're going to compare the World Cup to what? You're stupid. You're stupid. If you like the World Cup, you're a globalist. I'm going to stop right there. I can't even go on. If you want to read the rest, I'll leave the link in the description box below. But this man, you are sick. There's something wrong with your head. You need to see a psychiatrist. You need to be put on medication. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe. You stay positive. You keep prepping. And as always, fear less. And don't listen to this moron.